It's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, I couldn't help but think that Brad Stevens was watching this game and maybe once in a while, here and there, he watched the Miami Heat execute on offense and on defense and think to himself, that's what I want. It's a very Liz Lemon, I want to go to there type of feeling. Because the Miami Heat really are what he wanted the Boston Celtics to be. All season long, we have been told by Brad Stevens that the goal is to get together, play better, improve, and hopefully be full and peaking at the right time. Peaking at the right time is a constant theme. Playing better, playing well, getting healthy, and peaking at the right time is certainly the recurring message of Brad Stevens this year. And if you look at the Miami Heat, who were at one point 12-17, they have done exactly what Brad Stevens was hoping the Celtics would do. First of all, they're healthy. The only guy they're missing is Victor Oladipo. And if they get him back, he adds just another element of scoring and defense that is certainly going to be helpful. But even if they don't, this is still basically, minus a couple of players, a lot of that Miami Heat team that looked good in the bubble. And this is basically bubble Miami. This team is looking very much like that team that made that surprising run last year. And I don't know if they're going to make a surprising run this year, but they have a chance. And when you look at the standings, they have a chance to be in that 3-6 game against the Milwaukee Bucks. It could start shaping up the exact same way. This is exactly how Brad Stevens was hoping the Celtics season would go. You know, you had the short turnaround. Both teams had the short turnaround. COVID hit both teams. Now, the Celtics are by far the most impacted team by COVID. However, Miami is fourth. So they've been heavily impacted by COVID. They've had player injuries. They've lost multiple players to more than a dozen games. But they've had some luck where they've gotten whole and they've had time to play together as a team that's whole. The Celtics just have not. And they said the stat on the broadcast, Jaylen Brown's injury makes this official 0 games with their top 7 guys. 0. So that's Jalen, Jason, Kemba, Marcus, Robert Williams, Tristan Thompson, and Evan Fournier. No games where all 5 of those guys, all 7 of those guys have played. So bad luck for the Celtics, for sure. Bad luck. But then also bad just play. Bad habits. No cohesiveness. And so looking across at that Miami Heat team, you watch the way they play. They're cutting, like I said in the first segment. How many times did I just have to see a guy cut from the top of the key down the middle of the lane when somebody was posting up on the right side or the ball was driven on the right side? They were cutting, as Brad Stevens pointed out after the game. Not only were they making cuts, because a lot of people will cut to go to a spot where they can get the ball. Not a lot of people are going to get a cut to what they call a sacrificial cut, where you cut to draw a defense, and that opens up space for someone else to swoop in and cut behind you and take advantage of the defense clearing out to score. Those cuts are beneficial, and guys don't always make those. Not everybody reads those. And on top of it, they're, hitting their shots. They're playing off of one another really well. They're playing with great pace, handoffs, ball movement, not just up and down because they walk the ball up and down the floor, but once they're in the half court, they play with great pace. So they're a slow team, like up and down the floor, but they're a fast team when it comes to executing their offense. Defensively, they're very active. They get their hands on passes. Jason Tatum got really loose with the ball. I mean, he just got a bad habit of doing that this year. Those guard-to-guard passes at the top of the key keep getting tipped or stolen. That Miami team, man, I'm impressed. Brad Stevens is certainly impressed. This is a team that has persevered. And like I said before, Brad Stevens probably looks at it a little jealous and was hoping that the Celtics could achieve a lot of what Miami achieved. Again, they were 12-17. They're now 38-31. So that's what, 26-14 since late February. They've made up 4 games. They were behind the Celtics and now they've passed the Celtics. I really honestly, I didn't think Miami had this kind of run in them, but they've now won 3 straight. And the funny thing about Miami is they're the only team in the top 7, Boston included, with a negative point differential. But that certainly is misleading at this point. Their 3-game winning streak is the longest in the East. In fact, one game behind the longest in the NBA at this point. Miami looks dangerous, man. They look dangerous. It's been a tough season. It just kind of stands in stark contrast to how poorly the Celtics play, how bad they still look. You watch Miami and you're like, wow, that team has gone from looking like crap to looking good. Well, back-to-back games, so I'll be back after a Celtics, hopefully a win over Cleveland. Like, you got to beat Cleveland. You got to at least have some pride and beat Cleveland. There probably will not be any Kemba Walker in this game, so no Kemba, no Jalen, no Robert Williams, I would assume. I don't know what the Celtics do. Do they give Jason Tatum a night off? I mean, maybe at that point it doesn't matter. Maybe they will lose, but the night's off. We'll see what happens with regard to who gets rest, who makes the trip.